Thank you. Thank you, everybody. Welcome. And I thank you for coming. For sparing your time. Okay, when I know this small attention, I think. Well, I don't know. Please, let me at the outset start by apologizing to you all for the black people hit. This is not APC business. It's not nothing to be noted. Your Excellencies, members of the fourth estate, fellow Sierra Leoneans, I crave your indulgence, your patience, and your understanding for me to provide you with an exceptionally long and detailed address on the APC's grave concerns over Mr. Mohamed Kanneh of Ecsl and our security forces' efforts in undermining electoral integrity on June 24, 2023, and the potential for creating instability in Sierra Leone. My fellow citizens, 10 days from today, on the 24th of June 2023, Sierra Leone is scheduled to hold its 5th democratic elections during our post-conflict period. These elections are extremely important to everyone in Sierra Leone. They are about bringing in a new era and allowing the people of Sierra Leone, both at home and abroad, to make their democratic choices of presidential, parliamentary, and local government leadership. These elections on the 24th of June 2023 are about us, politicians, giving democratic space, peace, and security to those making these choices, irrespective of party politics, tribal or regional affiliations, gender or religion. They are about giving the people of Sierra Leone an ample opportunity to choose between two clearly opposing systems of governance to date. First, it is the system which we have experienced over the last 5 years, and which is characterized by various documented human rights abuses, stifling of opposition voices, a shrinking of the people's democratic space, open tribal divide, regional marginalization, and widespread, unprovoked, unexplained, and uninvestigated political violence. This situation has led to mass killings, molestation, harassment, and police brutality against the citizenry across the country. It is a system that has woefully failed the people economically, socially, and politically. The second system is one that gave way to the leadership of the first system, with which every Sierra Leonean is now tired of, and is therefore ready to pay the ultimate price, provide their resources and energy for a big bank change back to the second system. This second system has a positive and envied track record of a strong focus on national development, on improving the lives and livelihoods of all Sierra Leoneans without looking for tribe or region, on respecting human rights and the rule of law, and on ensuring that every Sierra Leonean is protected and secure. Thus, in 2018, it was this second system that allowed a smooth democratic transfer of power to the first system, whose leader we don't want to let go now, much against the will of the people. I know you've all been eagerly waiting to hear from me. It has been a very hectic few weeks, but I thank God for supernatural strength and favor. What God cannot do does not exist. Fellow Sierra Leoneans, it has been a tough 5 years for all of us. The young, the old, the women, the traders and their businesses, the transporters, the teachers and the students, the judges and the lawyers, the doctors and the nurses. A tough 5 years for all of us, including police, military officers. A tough 5 years for all of us, whether you are in Timni, you are Mendi, you are Fula or Yalunka, whether you are Kuranko or Limba, or whether you are Susu or Creole, or whether you are local or any other tribe. It has been a tough 5 years for all of us. The misery and suffering we have endured in the last 5 years, no boundaries. They have pushed us too far. Enough is enough. Members of the Fourth Estate, distinguished guests here present. The ballot box should be the answer to the people's choice. But as we can all see from the action so far of the Electoral Commission of Sierra Leone, it is obvious that they have something else up their sleeves. Our APC campaign in particular has been one of intimidation, molestation, embarrassment, brutality, and stress from the Sierra Leone police and military of our supporters, especially in the southeast. But guess what? God has seen us through it all. And He will continue the work He has started to the well-deserved end for us all. As is common knowledge, the military and the police are meant to serve and protect the people. And they must in no way be politically biased. But we are seeing otherwise. The people of Sierra Leone are sending a message, as they have tried to do in many occasions, but have been cast aside like trash. Out of the millions of ID cards I have seen, 90% are so badly printed. No one has been brought to justice for such an injustice to the people of Sierra Leone. people are asking, why has nothing been done about it? Why has Ecsl and Mr. Kanneh chosen to ignore all correspondences sent to them? Mr. Kanneh has chosen to ignore all correspondences. Maybe it's orders from above as well. We will not accept ballot boxes loaned embarrassingly from our neighboring country. We will not accept ballot boxes loaned embarrassingly from our neighboring countries. Why can't we procure from our own resources or from donor support new sealed boxes? I'm assuring all Sierra Leoneans that I will do everything in my power as president of this country to ensure an improved life for all. So, please stick with me and by me, and you will see the difference as the second system, which we all knew and benefited from in the immediate 10 years before the last 5 years, re-emerges on the 24th of June, 2023. In God, we are one people and one nation. My responsibility to the youth: please abstain from violence and from the rampant use of drugs. You are all in my thoughts and in my plans. We'll get you off the streets, but you have to desire more for yourself. These elections, therefore, on the 24th of June 2023, are not about Samura Kamara passing. Neither must they be about a second term for President Julius Maada Bio Pauba. They are about building a better future for Sierra Leone and about who can best secure and deliver this future. Now, it is with a sense of utmost urgency and deep concern that I am addressing you here regarding the loss of integrity of the electoral processes in Sierra Leone and the dangers it poses to the unity, peace, democracy, and stability of Sierra Leone. As you may recall, over the past 5 years, the APC, along with other members in the consortium of progressive political parties, COP, has diligently communicated with you and our esteemed international partners about the unfolding undemocratic and unconstitutional developments in our nation under President Bio's powerful regime. Today, however, as leader and presidential candidate of the All People's Congress Party for the forthcoming June 24 presidential, parliamentary, and local government elections, I find myself compelled, on behalf of the party and of you all, to emphasize the gravity of the flaws in the ongoing electoral processes and the potentially far-reaching consequences that loom ominously on the horizon. I've painfully characterized the critical issues across 6 broad themes and remain obliged to discuss them in future detail at some other opportune time. First, constituting the Ecsl and management of their operations. Mr. Mohamed was appointed chairman of the Electoral Commission for Sierra Leone in a manner that epitomizes the Sierra Leone People's Party government's flagrant disrespect for the rule of law and its underlying intent to undermine the integrity of the 2023 elections. Based on the provisions made in Chapter 9, Section 32(4) of the 1991 Constitution of Sierra Leone, specifically on the appointment of the Electoral Commissioner, the APC strongly protested Mr. Kanneh's appointment. This was communicated to the President on the 16th of July 2020, and the party's leadership in Parliament voted against this nomination, as he is constitutionally unqualified for the role. 51 members of Parliament voted against Mr. Kanneh's appointment. Specifically, the APC contended with the following aspects relating to his appointment: the consultation and appointment. Mr. Kanneh was imposed as the head of the commission without due consultation with leaders of other political parties as stipulated by the 1991 Constitution of Sierra Leone. The President merely informed the leaders of opposition parties of his decision. Despite the APC's appeals to reconsider this appointment, the President unilaterally forged ahead, dismissing our concerns. Second, the qualifications of Mr. Kanneh. According to Section 32(4) A and B of the 1991 Constitution of Sierra Leone, a person shall not be qualified for an appointment as a member of the Electoral Commission if he or she is not qualified to be elected as a member of Parliament, or the person should not be a public official, as in minister, deputy minister, member of Parliament, or public officer. Mohamed Kanneh was the Director General of the Financial Intelligence Unit, a presidential appointment and not a promotion based on a distinguished public service background. He was appointed at the time of his appointment when he was still chairman and head of FIU. The expected independence of Mr. Kanneh. The Electoral Commissioner is expected to exercise his functions independently and impartially, without interference from any external sources. However, Mr. Kanneh is believed to be a registered member of the SLPP and a well-known SLPP activist. Since assuming the position of chairman, Mr. Kanneh has pursued a troubling policy of ethnicization and arrogant and heavy-handed management move within the Electoral Commission. He has systematically replaced experienced staff with purported power loyalists, chosen for their perceived ability to perpetuate an unpopular government in power against the will of the people. The expansion of the Commission without any substantiated assessment or needs analysis vividly portrays a disdain for professionalism and operational efficiency. In 2022, over 21 positions, including voter education and training officers, assistant district elections managers, district elections managers, election officers and information technology focal persons, graphic designers, and estate engineers were all filled. The recruitment was shrouded in such secrecy that the existing employees of the Commission who wished to apply for those positions were asked to resign entirely. Consequently, no existing ECSL staff, some of them with over 10 years of experience and postgraduate degrees, was shortlisted for the interview. As most observers have found, over 80% of the staff involved in the management of elections today were recruited from the southeast part of the country and are well-known sympathizers for the power regime. These sad, ethnically based recruitment pattern cuts across all public institutions in the country. This unwarranted staffing approach has not only undermined the morale of the Commission's workforce, but has also severely compromised its capacity to discharge its responsibilities with competence and partiality. It is evident that Mr. Kanneh's unwavering resolve to further his assigned agenda, which primarily serves the Bureau administration's pursuit of another term, is an alarming indication of the imminent electoral manipulation that looms ahead. The APC has made significant efforts to engage Mr. Kanneh constructively, but he has shown those efforts and has continued with manipulation of the electoral processes against the principle of ensuring free, fair elections. Second, the manipulation of the legal framework for electoral governance and management in Sierra Leone. Ladies and gentlemen, from the outset, amid a progressively shrinking democratic space, it has become evident that the Sierra Leone People's Party-led government has embarked on a deliberate path to manipulate the electoral process. This disconcerting objective has been pursued through blatant tinkering with the electoral legal framework and disregarding the plethora of recommendations put forward by international and national observer missions following the 2018 elections. It was intended for those recommendations to address the structural and contextual challenges that marred these elections and fortify the electoral regime for the upcoming 2023 elections. Beyond the blatant disregard for those recommendations, the SLPP government has forced through several pieces of legislation less than a year before the 2023 elections, namely the Political Parties Regulation Commission Act 2022, the Local Government Act 2022, the Public Election Act 2022, the Proportional Representation Regulations and Gender Equality and Women's Empowerment Act 2022. The APC welcomes the progressive provisions in some of these legislations, such as those geared towards promoting the participation of women in the political and other decision-making spaces, and the efficiency of the country's electoral dispute resolution process. However, we condemn and continue to condemn provisions that have skewed the electoral framework in favor of the SLP. In the grand scheme and design of ongoing elections manipulation and voter disenfranchisement plans. Furthermore, the abrupt change from the first past the post system to the proportional representation system signifies a calculated strategy by the ruling party to undermine electoral integrity and set the stage for potential political instability. The conditions necessary for the PR electoral system were never fully met. It may be recalled that the APC's fight against legislation detrimental to current and future generations had been made extremely difficult since the illegitimate and forceful removal of 10 APC elected members of parliament in May 2019 by the SLPP caused the APC to lose its majority in 2030, laying the foundation for rigged elections via a deliberately flawed census. In July 2020, the Ecsl government commenced the process of conducting a new census, dubbed the midterm census. A census that can only be described as untimely and totally unnecessary. This flawed census, lacking any legal basis, was orchestrated with the explicit intention of sowing chaos and facilitating electoral manipulation at the end. At the end, the result showed an extraordinary rise in population in SLPP strongholds, in gross alignment with objective and scientific population growth projections. Other prior complementary data collection exercises, such as the annual school census and the Freetown City Council property rate database, and socio-economic migration patterns. In fact, in a period of unprecedented rural to urban migration, according to the midterm census, urban Freetown lost over 40% of its population. The credibility deficits were also unequivocally exposed by both local and international actors. For example, the World Bank and the European Union discredited the technical quality of the midterm census process, and the subsequently published manipulated figures and statistics Sierra Leone provide the wrong alignment. Moreover, the utilization of this flawed census data for electoral boundary delimitation has resulted in the ad hoc allocation of seats that undeniably favor ruling party strongholds. Additionally, the distribution of voter registration centers based on discredited midterm census data is deeply troubling, as it fails to present an accurate reflection of the actual population dynamics of Sierra Leone. This deliberate distribution of voter registration centers clearly aims to suppress registration and turnout in the Northwest region in a bid to justify the flawed midterm census data and disenfranchise thousands of voters. The fourth concern, the manipulation of the electoral data. In recent months, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, the measures undertaken by the Ecsl have intensified our concerns regarding the integrity of the electoral process. The production of blurred and substandard voter identity cards, the repeated failure to meet deadlines for submitting credible voter registration data, and the subsequent release of highly questionable data that raised serious doubts about the Commission's commitment to conducting free and fair elections. With the corrupt, non-transparent, and politically non-inclusive nature of the procurement processes by the Ecsl, it is crucial for us, including your objective development partners of Sierra Leone, to note that the APC believes that these actions of Ecsl are setting the stage for the rigging of elections. The impact of these procurements and distribution of blood and poor quality of the voter ID cards is unfathomable. It is worth noting that the Ecsl has missed all legal deadlines to submit credible and correct data of registered voters as provided by the law. The APC complained for several weeks, but our complaints went unheeded. In the end, the Commission released incomplete and highly unquestionable data less than a month to the elections. Our thorough assessment has revealed numerous irregularities within the data, such as including deceased individuals and non-existent names, and exclusion of granular voting center or polling station details per voter. Furthermore, our assessment found the use of a practice known as net driving, which resulted in the Ecsl shifting of voter names from the northwest to the south, an apparent endeavor to meet the SNPP's projected electoral outcomes. Added to these are prior anomalies relating to voter registration, voter verification, and collection of voter cards. On voter verification and registration process, the Electoral Commission for Salone had conducted what it called a voter verification registration for the 2023 multi-tier elections. The registration exercise, which was conducted from 10 September to 4th of October 2022 and extended by 2 days, was meant for citizens who have already registered and voted in previous elections to confirm their biometrics, review their personal information, and make corrections or inclusions where necessary. At the same time, it was also to register those who had not been registered previously. But again, the voter verification and registration process was characterized by numerous structural hiccups and was flawed from the start. In respect of first-time voters, the Ecsl violated its own rules and legal provisions on the eligibility identification criteria relating to this process. Part 4 of the Public Elections Act 2022, Section 24, stipulates that citizens are eligible to register either with a birth certificate or a naturalization certificate. A statutory declaration giving particulars of his birth, or the testimony of a member of the local council in the area of residence. The National Identification Number, or E, any other satisfactory evidence of entitlement to be registered as a voter. These provisions, ladies and gentlemen, were all blatantly ignored. And in addition, while Ecsl did not allow first-time voters to register, they failed to issue rejection forms to these citizens. There were widespread and varied reports of first-time voters, especially in Freetown, being turned away from registering to vote. On the voter exhibition and verification exercise, Ecsl subsequently conducted a staggering 5-day exhibition and verification exercise between 24th November and 28th November, in respect of which there was minimal public sensitization. Consequently, the turnout of registrants for verification is understandably so very low. For those who did visit registration centers for verification, there are many reports of missing data. Significantly, in spite of the prevalence of missing data, many registration centers do not have the inclusion forms that are to be completed for those registrants whose data did not appear during the verification process. On the voter ID collections exercise and results, Ecsl conducted a voter ID card collection exercise from the 7th to the 16th of April. Registered voters were to collect their voter cards from the centers while they registered. The voter ID cards issued were of such extreme poor quality that the images on most of them are practically unidentifiable. Such a situation would no longer further undermine integrity, fairness, and inclusiveness of the 2024 polls. We hold this view because the difficulty in identifying the real holders of the voter ID cards would become a barrier to voting, which could increase the risk of electoral fraud. This is apart from the fact that there were irregularities with the procurement processes for the voter ID cards, in addition to the fact that our party was excluded in participating in the process, and we are not furnished with the details relating to who printed the cards, how many cards were printed, where they were printed, when they arrived in Sierra Leone, how and who received them, and so on. 17th April, according to the Ecsl press release, approximately 2.6 million voter ID cards, representing 77% of those issued, had been collected, with 9,601 cards misplaced, 5,205 without photos, and 502 mismatched. We are yet to be informed on the current status of these cards. These actions not only give rise to deep apprehension, but also holds the potential to subvert the peace, security, and stability of our nation. As such, anomalies are bound to incite public discontent. Fifth concern, the rapid erosion of confidence and trust in the judiciary, parliament, audit service, and the Anti-Corruption Commission. It's the belief of the general public and the APC party that the judiciary and other accountability and transparency fiduciary institutions such as Parliament, Audit Sierra Leone, and the Anti-Corruption Commission have all demonstrated no attempt to regain the confidence and trust of the public, which they have lost in the last 5 years under this brutal and illiberal government. The willingness of the leadership of the judiciary, as well as other accountability and transparency institutions, in particular the ACC and Audit Service and Parliament and several civil society organizations, to be instrumentalized by this powerful government, not only represents the most significant erosion of our democratic achievements in the last 20 years, but poses the most imminent threat to peace, stability during this election period. Our sixth concern, state-sponsored and orchestrated intimidation and violence against voters. The ruling party continues implementing its policy of violence and intimidation of opposition voices and activists across the country. These have been palpably obvious with direct attacks on APC supporters and members across the country, with the most recent incident occurring during an assault on my campaign in Kanneh, the fourth such incident in the month. Regrettably, our personal security and the safety of our supporters can no longer be entrusted to the state security apparatus. Senior officials of the power government machinery have repeatedly made inflammatory pronouncements, creating an atmosphere of intimidation and violence. The authorities have openly ignored flagrant human rights violations committed by ruling party agents and their hired dogs, who operate with impunity in SLPP strongholds. On a daily basis, these thugs obstruct our supporters from displaying campaign materials and engaging in lawful political activities designated for the APC. Furthermore, harassment, including the throwing of acid and physical assaults on our female candidates and supporters, has been reported in Mohamed, in Falaba, in the western area. There have been incidents clearly shown on social media where women have been beaten, stripped naked, across the country, to the conspicuous silence of the security agencies and government authorities. These despicable acts do not only expose deep-rooted contempt for women and youth within the ruling party, but also target women and youth who have openly displayed strong support and sympathies for the APC against the SLPP because of the continued misery and sharp deterioration in their lives and livelihoods. We are in no doubt that this is part of a wider strategy to frustrate and undermine the participation of the women and youth, whom they have found to have strong sympathies for and deep faith in the APC for redeeming and saving Sierra Leone from falling into deeper economic, social, and political collapse. It is imperative to highlight the highly improbable, improper, and militarized approach adopted by this government towards human rights and the rule of law. The police force, instead of upholding justice, has become an instrument of oppression. With a bellicose and trigger-happy posture, they readily resort to shooting and violence against the defenseless populace, even without provocation. This heavy-handed approach has effectively silenced the voices of civil society. It has hindered women and the youth participation and has severely undermined the public confidence in safety and security during the upcoming elections. Equally alarming is the escalating endeavor to weaponize ethnicity within the ruling party's strongholds. Youth and former Kamara ex-combatants have been openly mobilized to instigate attacks on opposition supporters and individuals from other ethnic groups residing in the southeast. Some of these groups have openly declared their loyalties and localities as no-go areas for APC campaign teams. The SNP government has made no effort to conceal its intolerance and therefore its plans to unleash brutality upon those who oppose them and wish to cast their votes against their regime. Over the past 6 months, it has openly undertaken an extensive procurement of arms for the military and security forces. The ostentatious delivery of these weapons and ammunition, often in the public view, has raised concerns among the citizenry who question whether Sierra Leone is on the verge of war or is actively preparing for war. The APC holds deep concerns that these weapons and ammunition may have been dispersed throughout the country and may be distributed to rogue elements of society within the government. Alongside this worrisome trend, the military has been placed on high alert, intensifying apprehension. In the last 5 years, the presence of the police and the military in the streets and roads everywhere in the country has progressively intensified. More than ever before, making Sierra Leone a police state. The ruling party's continued plot to rig the elections is now becoming increasingly evident. An opposition to this calculated scheme is swiftly deemed a threat to national security by the SLPP and their agents, resulting in the arbitrary arrest and detention of opposition members without trial. Disturbingly, we have received intelligence that this strategy will be fully implemented on election day, reinforced by an impending nationwide internet shutdown and unconstitutional declaration of a state of emergency. It has become evident, ladies and gentlemen, in the last 5 years, that the attitude of the current president to governance is militarized and characterized by the ethno-regionalization of politics and powers and the imposition of his will on the people. For instance, through the illegal appointment of a Speaker of Parliament and head of Ecsl, the sacking of the Auditor General, etc. Trapped by a militant ethnic cabal known as power, and an overbearing wife who continues to display a naked animosity for opponents of the regime. It is without gainsaying that President Leone has lost the ability to govern and lead Sierra Leone. Indeed, I repeat, the husband is president of the Republic of Sierra Leone. They do not vote the wife. Alarming as these trends may be, it is crucial to emphasize the following. One, that the APC has consistently been patient and restrained, even though provoked on several occasions and even labeled as terrorists by President Leone. We did not react. Two, we have consistently exercised restraint, choosing peace over provocations and oppression. Three, we emphatically state that the All People's Congress Party remains fully committed to upholding peace, security, and stability in our country, and look forward to delivering on all the commitments we have made in our One Nation manifesto. We especially call upon the SLPP and all other stakeholders to demonstrate the same unwavering commitment to consistently choose peace over provocations and oppression. We further call upon President Leone and all other political stakeholders to strictly adhere to the recently signed peace declaration for ensuring free, fair, and non-violent presidential and general elections on June 24, 2023. However, the gravity of these developments, as outlined above, also demands the immediate attention and intervention of the international community, particularly the International Criminal Court, to safeguard democratic processes and prevent the relapse of Sierra Leone into conflict once more, as planned by his SLPP government. As a nation, we have sacrificed significantly to maintain the hard-earned peace we have enjoyed since 2002 when we signed the peace accord. Any attempt to reverse these gains must be firmly addressed and resisted, and all must be done to ensure free and fair elections. In considering the board under my leadership, that the APC demands the following. In considering the board under my leadership, that the APC the All People's Congress Party demands the following. 1. The ECSL guarantees that the counting of ballots, tallying, and certification of results will take place initially at the polling center of the station. Two, the tallying of votes must be conducted transparently through manual and not electronic processing. Two, that the tallying of votes must be conducted transparently through manual and not, I repeat, and not electronic processes. The presence of party agents and the local and international observers. 3. That the APC be provided with the ECSL data management structure and proposed tallying system and protocols for the 2024 June 2023 elections. In order to aid our appreciation of how the ECSL will be managing the electoral data, how the data are going to be processed, and how the results are going to be tallied and announced. Next, that in the interest of transparency and integrity of results, particularly in light of the tremendous mistrust created by ECSL's actions and inaction so far, the results are transmitted manually and that the political parties are granted full and unfettered access and secured participation in the manual transmission of the election results at all levels. That the ECSL should immediately release the disaggregated and comprehensive final voter registration detailing the center names, the votes, the districts, the voter names, the ages, the addresses, citizens, identifiable photos and fingerprints and signatures. That an independent technical forensic audit of the voter register be conducted immediately to ascertain the veracity of the ages and identities of voters. This exercise must be done with the participation of representatives of political parties, regional and continental and other international partners. This is informed by our analysis of the data in the journals used for the collection of voter IDs, which shows thousands of underage voters, thousands more of first-time voters indiscriminately allocated to Kanneh and Salone and other parts of the south and eastern region. We also found out thousands of purported voters who, according to their dates of birth, in the said journals, are over 200 years old. These several anomalies, some of them too basic, absolutely undermine not just the integrity of the final voters register, but also the capacity of ECSL to conduct the June elections, owing to the fact that, over and again, this commission has demonstrated that it does not have the competence, the integrity, and the neutrality to conduct free, fair, credible, inclusive, and acceptable elections. That, as part of the process of restoring trust in the electoral process and to ascertain the integrity of the results, the usual support of independent technical assistance from our international partners, including the United Nations Development Programme, UNDP, be allowed to play their usual technical support role to ECSL. Next, that the National Electoral Commission must facilitate the unhindered access and presence of universally accredited party agents and local and international observers nationwide. The government must immediately halt security agents and paid assailants from obstructing APC campaigns and intimidating our supporters. The presence of the security forces across the country before, during, and after the vote must be seriously and severely minimized in order not to scare the voters and commit to protect ourselves. Any loss of life must be subjected to a thorough judicial investigation. Internationally recognized electoral judges should be deployed with support from the international community to swiftly adjudicate electoral disputes. Next, the government must ensure the free movement, the safety and security of all voters before, during, and after the polling day. The government should guarantee that there will be no disruptions or shutdown of the internet and or declaration of a state of emergency before and after the declaration of the results, as is being currently mooted in certain quarters. Fellow citizens, members of the fourth estate, distinguished ladies and gentlemen and present. The questions around integrity of the existing voter registration, the poor quality of the voter ID cards, and critically, the tallying at the polling center and district, and the manual transfer of the results about to be denied by the Ecsl are too many and too serious issues for the APC to make any compromises on, because a potent, real, and credible antecedents to confusion, frustration among electorates, and violence. Most importantly, electronic transmission exposes the election's results to manipulation, which will result in an outcome that will neither be credible nor acceptable. Ladies and gentlemen, you are all witnesses to our long-standing and persistent demand for the publication of the disaggregated final voter register, and how Ecsl repeatedly made commitment to doing so, appealing for political parties and the public to allow them some time to sanitize the register. After an unprecedented delay last week, you all are further witnesses to the embarrassing Ecsl drama relating to the release of what they believed was the final disaggregated final voter register. Just within hours of Ecsl official release of that data to political parties, they shocked everyone and the world by recalling the final voter registration, which they have spent an inordinate amount of time on the basis that they submitted to the political parties. What was submitted was a wrong copy. If an electoral commission, with all its multitude, technical, professional staffs, could not discern the appropriate copy of such a sensitive and highly critical document from garbage before sharing with election shareholders, how would anyone trust their capacity and ability and genuinity to effectively run credible elections? State capture of the Ecsl makes it worrying that this institution no longer has the free will to conduct elections in a free, fair, and transparent manner. The government has ensured that all the commissioners are sympathetic to the ruling party, and they themselves have confirmed this suspicion by their actions and statements. A few months ago, there was a leaked audio circulating on social media of the Electoral Commissioner South, Mr. Edmund Alpha, condemning the international community for their push for transparency in the electoral process and suggesting that they were trying to implement a regime change agenda. More recently, the senior management of the Ecsl were seen posing for a picture with the SLPP's re-election campaign post. Within the sub-region, Salone remains one of the last beacons of democracy. In the last 5 years, the SLPP has been deliberate about our democratic reversal. And the signs are now very clear that they seem all set to kill and bury of all Leone stands ready to gallantly and unapologetically defend our democracy by every legal and democratic means. Failure by President Leone and his SLPP-led government to heed to the aforementioned considerations before the election on 24th of June 2023 will leave the APC with no option but to conclude that the SLPP's intention, goal and primary objective is not to conduct free, fair and non-violent credible elections. Accordingly, the APC will therefore demand that Mr. Mohamed Kanneh and all electoral commissioners resign for and his SLPP-led government to heed to the aforementioned considerations before the elections on the 24th of June 2023. We leave the APC with no option but to conclude that the SLPP's intention, its goal and primary objective is not to conduct free, fair, non-violent and credible elections. Therefore, accordingly, the APC will demand that Mr. Mohamed Kanneh and all electoral commission resign forthwith to be replaced by an independent, internationally accredited team. Thank you. We, the APC, are demanding for resignation of Electoral Commissioner, Chief Electoral forthwith, to be replaced by an independent, internationally accredited team of electoral commissioners and experts who will conduct fresh electoral processes. To date, Ecsl has demonstrated unprecedented lack of transparency, inclusiveness, and accountability. Several of Ecsl actions and inactions relating to the management of the electoral processes have irreparably ripped apart its integrity, its independence, and public trust in its capacity to conduct free, inclusive, and credible elections, whose outcome can be acceptable to the citizens of the country. These demands are timelines. These demands are timelines. Which is within the next 72 hours. I wish to reiterate that all People's Congress Party and its supporters and members will not accept any election results tainted by rigging or manipulation. We are steadfast in our commitment to upholding the principles of national unity, democracy, transparency, and above all, upholding the will of the people. Should there be any evidence of electoral malpractices or any attempt to subvert the integrity of the electoral processes, the APC will utilize all available legal and peaceful means to challenge such actions and ensure that the true voice of the Salone people is heard. It is crucial that the international community, their presence and abroad, it is crucial that the international community, their presence and without, stands alongside the people of Sierra Leone in this unequivocal position, firmly rejecting any results that do not reflect the genuine will of the voters. The manipulation to go unchecked before, during, and after the vote will be detrimental to democratic aspirations and stability of our beloved nation and sovereignty. We implore all Sierra Leoneans, election observers, civil society organizations, and the entire international community to join the APC in condemning any acts of election rigging and to support efforts to safeguard the integrity of the electoral process. The people of Sierra Leone deserve nothing less than a free, fair, and non-violent and credible election that accurately reflects their choices and aspirations for a robust, democratic, and prosperous Sierra Leone. Meanwhile, I want to call on the people of Sierra Leone. Meanwhile, I want to call all Leoneans to come out and vote on the 24th. Come rain, come sunshine, come the usual barrage of bullets, or come anything else, and to protect their votes thereafter. The SFPP will want to use the state security to intimidate the people, but the people will show their power through the ballot box and will ensure that their votes are counted. We cannot and must not allow the SFPP to steal the elections and subject us to another 5 years of hardship, torment, oppression, and divisiveness. The APC is not doing what others do for cheap popularity and popular applause. Our passion and resilience and the pursuit of truth, justice, and accountability are driven by our own convictions and commitment towards a decent, democratic, and peaceful society. I repeat, the APC is not doing what others do for cheap popularity and applause. Hello. Thank you for listening to me. The APC is not doing what others do for cheap popularity and applause. Our passion and resilience in the pursuit of truth, of justice for all, and accountability are driven by our own convictions and commitment towards a decent, democratic, and peaceful society. We will commit to continue to stand firm on these principles. Let me end by demanding that President Bill instructs the immediate release of all those peaceful APC supporters and national patriots who have been unlawfully arrested, molested, and detained, including Agropeers and many others over the last few years. Please. Let me end by demanding that President Julius Maada Bio instructs the immediate release of all those peaceful APC supporters and national patriots who have been unlawfully arrested, molested, and detained, including Agropeers and many others over the last few days. I will also implore the President to authorize the security forces to stop intimidating APC members through house searches and vandalization of property. It is alleged by social media that at a recent meeting in the presence of Mr. Mohamed, the Chief Electoral Commissioner, a selected team of SLPP hired thugs will be put together to conduct planned raids on several polling stations on the APC strongholds on election day with a view to disrupt the voting processes or cause overvoting, leading to cancellation of such polling stations. Of course, as a peaceful and law-abiding citizen, I, Samura, Kamara, I wouldn't want to believe that this information, I wouldn't want to believe this information at all of these thoughts. And I also believe so must President Bio. He also must not believe to this piece of information. I am convinced, very much so, that in the course of time, there will be more revelations on any surreptitious plans the SLPP to rig and win the 2024 June elections outside the regular and unlawful vote. And we shall deal with these revelations accordingly. In God we trust. Let me also make it emphatically clear that based on engagements and polls conducted by the APC, it is extremely clear that the President and his powerful government are hugely unpopular, and the voters have very little confidence in their ability to fix the most pressing problems facing the country right now, including a divided nation, a collapsed economy, and the cost of living crisis. Given that I, Samura Kamara, I am the preferred choice of the majority of the Leones, and I do represent their best hope and the most suited to handle these challenges, I am confident of victory. Any result that does not reflect this will be seriously called into question. Since 2018, this powerful government, since 2018, this powerful government has shown that it does not care about due processes. It does not respect the will of the people. It has no human face. Should the government attempt to challenge or subvert the will of the people, there will be dire consequences for the peace and stability of Leone, and even graver international consequences for those persons who are found wanting in any plan to usurp power from the people. My fellow Leoneans, vote APC, June 24, 2023. Vote APC. Vote Samura Kamara. Vote to save Salone. I thank you. God bless. Thank you.
Let me ask that